folks, welcome back. It is David here. I am at the CEG Craps Workshop, and today's class is going to be for all of those people who have a rig or a craps table. Maybe the wife and kids have moved out. You finally moved that craps table into the dining room just like where you've wanted it the whole time, because that's genius. And now you're trying to look a little better as a dealer. And we've had quite a lot of people actually come out and spend some time with me and say, David, I don't actually want to learn a strategy. Just shut the hell up and show me how to deal. And so I've done that actually. I've sort of evolved this very quick 1 hour long course to help you become a better dealer, or at least look like you may know something. So there's that, and that's what we're going to try to do today. Now this might be in 1 or 2 parts, based on how long I get to talking, might be 5 parts. I mean, we'll shoot for 1. It might probably be 2. What do you think, Dennis? Dennis is rolling his eyes because.
Well, if you want the full video, join.
And if you want the full video, of course, you can join now, and then you can see the whole thing. But for those of you just tuning in, just want the free version, I'm hopefully going to give you some value. And there you go. All right. So I will tell you that the first thing we're going to break down is sort of the table and positions themselves. So on a craps table, depending upon where you sit in your rig, if your rig looks like this and you just have a tub where you only have one side of the table showing, this would be equivalent to third base. If your rig is on the other side and you have the half layout on the other side, of course, that would be second base. And if you are lucky enough to have the whole flipping table, congratulations, sir, you have leveled up as a human being, or ma'am, we have a few, you have leveled up in the craps world. And then this side I'm on is just third base. And then you can work from either base, of course. But let's go over positions on a table, because that's important to understand, how you're going to relate the context of the game. So the way it works out is 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 4 is the outside hook. So if you have a wraparound rail, you'll see where the rail cuts off right at the corner. That's the hook. So before the rail cuts off is what we call the outside hook. And as the rail cuts off, it's the inside hook. And then it goes all the way around. Down the center would be here. And then, of course, next to base. So there's approximately 6 to 8 positions around the table, depending on how big a table are and how big your guests are. So that will also dictate the number of people. I always say, it used to be back in the day about 8 average Americans could fit around a table. I think we're down to about 5.5 now, about 5.5, and we're working to get to that 4, okay? But here, we got next to stick is over here, 2, 3, outside hook would be 4, right before that, a corner, inside hook right after that corner. That's the next slot going around next to me, okay? The next thing to make you look like you may or may not be a dealer in a past life is to understand how your hands work on the table. So if I'm on third base, my outside hand would be my left hand, and it's the hand closest to the player. My inside hand is the hand that's closest to the prop box. Now, the reason why this matters is because we want you to look absolutely fantastic while you're dealing. And so we use our inside hand to grab checks from the bank. Instead of leaning over with our outside hand and pivoting around and turning away from our customers, we use our inside hand to grab money and move it into the cum. Now, if you're actually working a live casino, this is for game protection purposes, so that when you move the money in, you're not twisting your trunk, you're still able to keep your eyes forward on the game, and surveillance can watch you a little easier that way. Then we use our outside hand, our left hand, to hand off payouts and hand off money. So we move a stack of checks with our inside hand, move it out with our outside hand. Looks very smooth and very professional, okay? The next thing we want to understand is identify how money or chips or what we call checks are laid out on the table. This will also help to make you look like a real pro. So on a craps table, we don't do what's called a splash. You'll see this done on a blackjack table. This is not something we do on a crap table. Everything we do on a crap table is done in stacks or groups of chips. White chips or grays or blues, dollar chips are done in groups of 5. Red chips also are groups of 5. Now you guys are literally looking at this top down. I'm going to splash it just to show you that there's 5 chips here. So county convention is what plays a role in every crap dealer's life. if we have one chip, it looks like this: 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, into one group, and then the next set of 5 followed by the next set of 5. Now, if we have 6 red chips, it's 3 and 3. Okay, 4 red chips is just going to be a group of 4. Okay, not splash, but just stacked up like this. All right, but if we do 6, it's going to be looking like this. 8 is going to be like this. 4 and 4, that would be $40. All right. Now, green chips, we cut those down into groups of 4, not 5. So, which makes sense because 100, 100, 100, 100. Okay. If we happen to need 150 in green, it's going to be 3 and 3. Okay, so 3 and 3. Okay, but if we need less than that, if we just need 2, that's 2. There's 3, there's 4. But 3 and 3 is just like that. That would be 150. Okay. Now black chips is $100. Also groups of 5. Okay, groups of 5, groups of 5, groups of 5. And again, the counting convention is very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, sticky. 5. Wow, those are just, look at that. Oh, they're like magnetized. Good Lord. Okay. But if we want to do 600 in black, it's going to be 3 and 3. And then for those of you curious, I'm doing what's called cutting checks, and we have another video back away where I went over like all of the check drills that are really good for helping your hands and making you look. I mean, that's half of the battle, really. If you look like you can manage these checks, so people in Vegas will say like you have hands. If you've worked on a crack table for a while, they say you have good hands, and that just means you're able to manage the chips well. And of course, I've been doing this a long time, so you know the chips have become somewhat effortless to me. Okay. Next thing is, how do we manage our stacks or our bank? And the way I set up my stank is stank. Oh my God, I got stank. That's a what do we call that? Mouth. What is
Mouth
it?
tricks.
Mouth tricks. Oh God, David's up to mouth tricks again. Anyways, not stanks, but sticks. No, not even sticks. Stacks. My stacks of chips, I post them along the lines to make it nice and clean. And I keep stroking my stacks of chips. Yes, that's right. I keep stroking them and making sure that they stay clean, that they're not looking all awkward. Can they see this? So instead of them looking all like, amateurish, I make sure my stacks are nice and neat and straight up. And by the way, when it comes to just looking great as a crap dealer, neatness counts. Absolutely, neatness counts. It looks so much better when you have everything well positioned and in the places. So when it comes to my stacks of chips that I use to pay, I start with my lowest stack on the outside, then working my way inside, I go higher stacks of checks. So I'm going to have my 1s, my 5s, my 25s, my 100s, nice and neat and set up. Now, an important distinction is you're only allowed one stack